open the next.
Yeah, and so it's going to say like that.
This one?
PowerPoint, yep.
Okay. Awesome. So this is what we're working with. All right, Mark. Let me get you set up real quick. Essay, right?
No, there's multiple.
All right. And so this has all the instructions.
All right.
So, okay, there's the first one. So the purpose of our assessment is to help researchers understand secondary, but it's okay, history, and that should really say social studies.
Okay.
Teachers thinking about discipline. So first we want to talk about the discipline, then about teaching, and then about the classroom environment.
Okay.
Okay, your responses will be used to make it, we're going to eventually use what you say and your words and stuff to make a real interview.
Okay.
So there are a couple parts to the interview. Later we're going to ask you about teaching, but now we want you to first think about the discipline of history.
Okay.
Or social studies, but
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. So the first thing is we're going to ask you to do a little task where the question, this part, you're helping you learn about the discipline of history. Sorry, that repeats itself, but we're going to use the words discipline-based inquiry to be like a DBQ.
Okay.
Where you're not proving knowledge and using knowledge, you're gaining knowledge, so it's inquiry.
Cool.
Okay,
Yep.
so we call it DBI for now
I
on.
like that.
Okay, and you're actually the subject at this point, the
Okay.
student, whatever. Okay, and we realize that the teacher part of you is in the forefront. I don't have to say all this to you, but to the other people I do, because they're like, this is weird.
Right.
Okay, part one. This unit is called Investigating Child Labor in Nepal. And these documents are in the folder that a kid will be given. And their central question is, do you have that paper?
Yep.
That's their central question.
So why does hazardous child labor continue to exist in Nepal?
And that's the central question
Okay.
for all of this. But quite a bit of this is background. And maybe we would only do like 20 minutes worth of looking into this and talking as you look into it and why you're clicking, what you're doing, what you're thinking. But in the end, since we don't really have time for you to do this, if you could just write down some bullet points that you would use to answer this question.
Okay.
Okay. And so you can start any time.
All right.
I think.
So am I going
to?
to? Am I clicking?
Just keep clicking.
Oh, great.
Okay, and then you can actually make this full screen if you want by just like F5. Control F. You go. There's no always. Everyone does it different.
So you want me to right now just investigate? Yeah. Do you want me to talk out loud about what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you think there's something I need to know.
Yeah, I mean, I can think through with you what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I find that maybe the more I talk, I don't know if that's easier or harder for you, but
No, it's way easy.
way easier. So whenever I look at an inquiry question, I'm trying to understand a couple of things. Can I speak as a teacher, or do you want me to speak as a student?
Speak as if you were really doing this yourself.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand the task.
Like if I don't know, was Jackson really married? Or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
When he got his second wife.
Okay.
Something like that.
So I try to get a handle on what the question is asking in terms of the task. So what am I being asked to do? Here I see why, which leads me to believe that there's some kind of causal, like why does this continue? Hazardous child labor continue to exist in Nepal? I'm also trying to get, I try to situate the time. I'm assuming that it's present, but there are no dates that are associated with the task here. And then I'm thinking about orienting myself with things like hazardous child labor in Nepal. So geographically, I'm trying to situate where Nepal is in my head. And then I'm trying to think about hazardous child labor. Like, what are some of what conditions might make child labor hazardous? And immediately I'm kind of remembering some background or trying to bring up some background information. And while this is not, Nepalese history is not my expertise,
Right.
but I think of hazardous conditions as possibly being low pay, long hours, dangerous conditions, child labor. I think about, I wonder, questions that come to my mind that I'd want to know. It's like what kind of laws exist in the country to protect children, and are there any groups around providing any protection? So if the government isn't doing it, are there other groups working? Okay. So initially with my list, I'm thinking of why does it continue? Questions around the government, so possibly government corruption, the laws that may exist around child protection, like what kind of education laws do they have? Might that be a persistence? Another thought that just came to my head is like colonialism, like the effects of colonialism kind of destabilizing the region. Does that have any kind of effect?
Okay.
Doing okay?
Yeah, great.
All right. So when I come to this photograph, I'm instantly drawn to the source information, and I try to do a quick scan of the photo. What do I observe? But then also taking that into consideration with the source information that's provided. I'm noticing that this is published in 2015, which is a little bit more recent. I'm not familiar with the International Labor Organization, but I can assume
that's clickable if you need it, but whatever.
And then a health approach to child labor. So that's interesting. Like I'm wondering. Oh, I don't want to do that yet. So I'm noticing the child is poorly dressed, lots of dust and grit on the face. I don't see any kind of protective gear. And this is hard manual labor. I'm wondering how heavy those bricks are. I was moving adobo bricks in Peru, and just one of them was really heavy. So the fact that this child has the bricks on his head is alarming.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering how tall he is, his age. Those are some questions. Why does he have to do this? Like, does he have a family? Is he working to support his family? Is he out on the streets?
And if you want to move this down, just in case you ever want to go to any of those links, just there, that's better.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And maybe your internet works. Okay, it does.
Awesome. So I'm going to open up. I just want to get a quick read. Sometimes I go to Wikipedia okay, so it's connected with the United Nations.
Okay.
Primarily I'm wondering if, when I think about that source information, I want to know where it comes from so that I can get a better sense of who might be sponsoring the particular report.
Yep.
Because that might help with an angle that they are trying to promote through their work.
I don't know how you get back.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
That's notable. Nobel Peace Prize for improving peace among classes and pursuing decent work and justice for workers. All right. Okay, so this is in 2015. All right, I'm not there.
Yeah,
Let's
there
go
we go.
down here. Wow. Okay, so again, from the same report. Wow, look at, she's not even wearing shoes. I mean, how old are these kids? They look like they're upper elementary, don't they?
Yeah. They're meant to be the age of the kids we're working with.
Yeah. So here I'm, like, this is an incredible array of pictures in terms of now we're introducing boys and girls. I'm noticing that there doesn't seem to be any kind of special protections for children, let alone for young people doing backbreaking work like this. And the rudimentary, it all seems so like the headband carry, like there's no tool, there's no machine. They're really providing the backbreaking work. And then where are these bricks going? Like here it looks like a structure has fallen. Are the children cleaning, or are they attempting to build something new? These are leading to me to more questions.
Yeah. Okay, this is a video. This takes 8 minutes. You don't have to listen to it, but it actually is quite interesting.
Okay.
I mean, we could listen to it. I don't know.
What's your time frame?
I'm fine with you.
Okay.
It's a way of life in this Himalayan country, but workers in Nepal's brick kilns are in a league of their own.
So here you're introducing...
Here, work is an endless cycle of loads that weigh more than the laborers who carry them. Of polluted, oppressive conditions, grinding coal to stoke kilns that must be kept alive at some 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit round the clock. Of molding clay into raw bricks that feed the ovens.
You don't use your brains to do this work as physical labor, but we have no choice. We have debts to pay.
Ilok Mokhtan and his wife Rina say life is a never-ending cycle of debt. For medical bills, for just running the household, they say, and to put their children in school.
I want to see that my children are educated, that they complete their higher education. Work is too tough in the brick sector.
They'll be up at midnight before it gets too hot, work until dawn, sleep for a few hours, get up, start molding more bricks, and do it again the next night.
It's physically demanding at all aspects. And I think that's why it's startling to see children.
We partnered with Christian Science Monitor reporter Michael Holtz and photographer Ann Hermes, who took these still photographs on a story we found especially relevant now in this earthquake-ravaged country, about an industry notorious for trapping children and families in poverty.
I think we really wanted to get a sense of, now that reconstruction is finally getting underway in Nepal, and demand for bricks is going to go so high, how that would affect the brick kiln industry itself, in terms of if there would be increases in child labor, increases in bonded labor.
There are some 1,100 brick kilns across Nepal, a number that's grown recently, anticipating large-scale rebuilding from the earthquake.
So these are the areas where they make bricks.
All told, they employ about 250,000 people, says Homraj Acharya, who is part of a 2-year-old initiative called Better Brick Nepal, or BBN.
And how many children, again, did you say are working in kilns today?
We can find around 60,000.
60,000
children, yeah, because it's a family-based industry.
They live in brick shacks surrounded by Lego-like fortresses. Molded bricks stacked up at the start of an almost pre-industrial process.
For brick makers, there are no set working hours. Basic rule is you work until you're too tired to continue. There's every incentive to continue to the point of exhaustion, because workers are paid by the brick. They get a little less than 1 US cent for every one of these that they produce.
Because it's paid on a piece basis. So if children are making like 100 piece more, so that means you might get 100
So they help
bricks
the
worth.
productivity, which helps their weight.
Yeah, exactly.
The children